It's just our pride and our ego gets in the way of like, we don't want to look stupid. Anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly before you can learn to do it well. The neighbors have done us a huge favor. So in looking at those two pieces of data, what we'll see come to the surface is not a pinpoint to the penny.
You can list a property for anything you want, Jose, right? You can list it at $100,000, you can list it at $1 million. But the only thing that matters is what the home actually sells for. I'd like to role play the market analysis or the CMA with someone.
I love it. I'll do this one with you.
So Jose, I prepared what we call a comparative market analysis. In a moment, we're going to review it together as a team. Now, the purpose of this analysis, Jose, it's really an attempt to make an educated guess for the value of your property, okay? And it's broken down into two parts, right? The first part, these are the homes that are currently on the market for sale, Jose, and basically are not selling. Now, this is really helpful information for us to look at because your neighbors, Jose, they've actually done us a favor. Any idea as to what that favor might be?
No.
Okay, no worries. So what they've done is they've tested the market at certain starting price points as to where they want to, at the price they want to list their home, sell their home for, and it's not selling. So this is really, really helpful information for us to look at because, Jose, we don't have to make the same mistake. We can just learn from what they've done already.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
But Mario, everything in my neighborhood is selling right now. Like, what do you mean there's homes that aren't selling?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there's a few homes here that have been on the market for 30 plus days or so. So we'll look at some of those. And then we're also going to look at part two, Jose. So the ones that you're talking about, the ones that have actually sold or are in escrow, this is reality. This is what buyers and sellers have actually agreed on for properties like yours, right? Meaning they're in escrow or have sold. And this is also what an appraiser does. Like when an appraiser or the bank sends out an appraiser to see what the value of your homes, these are the homes that they look at. You can list a property for anything you want, Jose, right? You can list it at $100,000, you can list it at $1 million. But the only thing that matters is what the home actually sells for. So what we're going to do, Jose, is we'll look at these two pieces of data together as a team. And just a caveat, because homes do vary in size, in location, condition. We're not going to get a pinpoint to the penny number for the price of your home, or the value, I should say. But instead, we're going to get a very tight, realistic range for your property's value. And then from there, we'll kind of talk about how we're going to get the most out of the value by discussing the different strategies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And just so you know, Jose, we'll go over those strategies because I want you to feel comfortable with the one we choose. Whatever you decide, because you are the boss, I'll support you 100%. Awesome. Okay, so just a question I have, Jose, for you, because I know you mentioned, it's been a while since you've sold a property. Are you familiar with the way that buyers determine values for homes like yours in this type of community?
Okay, what is sold and closed most recently and how it compares to theirs?
Exactly.
Or how ours compares to theirs?
You're spot on. It seems like you just sold your house this year. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what buyers do is that they comparison shop. They're going to look at the price that we list your property for, the features and benefits it has. So for your property, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It has a pool. So most likely buyers are going to look at other 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes in the neighborhood with the pool that are around 1,500 square feet. And then from that information, they're going to decide where they feel comfortable making an offer. And the information they're going to look at are, again, the homes that are currently for sale, that are similar to yours, and the homes that have recently sold. And from that information, they're going to decide where they feel comfortable making you an offer. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And just to add to that, something that I find that can be really helpful when looking at this data, Jose, I know right now you're looking at this data from your perspective, the seller. But something we found that can be helpful is that when you kind of, just for a moment, take off that seller's hat and try to look at this information through the eyes of a buyer. And a question to ask yourself as you review this data, Jose, is if you were going to buy this home all over again, right? And you're seeing what's recently closed, you're seeing what's for sale, right? You're looking at all this data. Realistically, Jose, what range would you feel comfortable offering that would be reflective of fair market value?
I was hoping you would.
Yeah, so we're going to go through that together as a team. But this question is just something good to keep in mind as you review this data. I'll share with you the different strategies on where we could start with price. But again, this is like a helpful exercise just so you can see or how you can kind of come to a final price on your own, if that makes sense. And then usually from there, Jose, after we look at this data, after you kind of do this exercise, it really becomes clear as to where the property needs to be in terms of price to get it sold.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So what I like to do next is just grab our comparables here. Let me just grab this. So I'm gonna just skip Jose into like pretend I showed you like all the what your home stats, right? And then I showed you all the things.
I think that's important. Show me I think that's an important part of the presentation because that's where you're guiding me. So go over it.
Okay. So all right. So let's go ahead and grab. So Jose, this piece, this is your property here. It is 123 Avocado Street, correct?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And it looks like you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet house, and then the lot is about 7,500. Does that sound correct to the best of your knowledge?
I thought my lot was a little bit bigger.
You know what's funny is that most of the lots here in Los Angeles, Jose, they're about 5,000 square feet. So then anytime someone has like a 7,000 square foot lot or even 7,500, it really feels like it's a 10,000 square foot lot. So I get where you're coming from. The good news is that in this market, that's a pretty big lot. Here's the first part of the analysis, Jose, that I mentioned. This is the competition part. So these are the homes that are on the market that haven't been selling. 1, 2, 3, 6 Banana Street. So if you look at it here, it's also a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,540 square feet. So it's just slightly bigger. Okay. And it looks like they've been on the market here for about 45 days. Now, if we look at the condition here, Jose, you can see that it's in decent condition, but you notice how those photos are kind of dark right there, Jose? Do you feel like it's kind of hard to tell what the condition is like?
Yeah, I think mine is definitely better than this one for sure.
Yeah, yours may be a little bit better. At the same time, though, we see that they have that extra 40 square feet. So it looks like, maybe your house could be a little bit better. If you look down here, they do have that upgraded bathroom. So, and the extra 40 square feet. Could you see how maybe it could be maybe a buyer would consider yours or this one because of the extra square feet and maybe the better bathroom?
Hey, the only thing I just want to stop you there. I'm hearing a lot of like maybe, possibly, do you think they would consider? I'm starting to hear like soft language, and you're doing like a lot. So instead, be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I guess I'm wondering, and then just ask it once.
Okay.
And let's stop here, and then we can continue. Just give a little bit of feedback as well too. The other thing is like when I said, hey. I thought my lot was bigger. One of the questions I usually just ask, I won't tell them like, I'll just be like, have you ever added on to the lot by any chance?
Okay.
And it's like, no, I haven't. Okay, well, if you haven't, typically the tax assessor's office is pretty accurate. The only time it wouldn't be accurate is if you've bought like a piece of property from a neighboring home. And then maybe go into that. Now, here's a thing, because the way I present it is I don't go over actives every single time.
Okay.
Because in our market, sometimes like there isn't
there's no actives.
So I've modified it a little bit where I don't go over, hey, look, the first piece of information that we'll be taking a look at is what is active and not selling in the marketplace. Because in some area, in some cases, I don't present any actives because I've got enough pendings to be able to present, or I've got enough solds that are like within 30 days, or there isn't a good active that would showcase that. The only suggestion that I would make is that by phrasing it that way, you could be boxing yourself into having to present something a certain way versus being a little bit more flexible on that.
Okay.
That would be like, because sometimes I don't present any actives. Aaron, would you always present actives no matter what?
Yeah. So again, like what you want to do is you want to create like you're basically like making a case.
You're painting a picture, basically.
You're painting a picture, and you want people to like self-discover. So what I would propose is like all of the conversation. The book or Amplify Your Influence. He gives you this framework: frame, message, and then influence objective. So all that conversation that he was having, setting up. Actually looking at the comps is the frame. The message is the actual information. And then the influence objective is like what you want them to do, which is where you get to the point like, all right, having seen this information, if you were a buyer and you're going to buy this place all over again, where do you think you feel comfortable making an offer that you believe would be reflective fair market value? So if there is actives, I do want to show it to them because it like helps to set the frame. And you can, it's part of the message, right? So like in, the framing part, we're like, the first piece of information we'll look at is what's active on the market and not selling. And that's very helpful to us. May I share with you why? Why is that? Well, the neighbors have done us a huge favor. And what they've done is they tested the market for us at certain prices and it's not working. And that's very helpful, right? We can learn from that. Second piece of data we'll look at is what is actually sold and closed most recently. And as you know, I don't need to tell you, Jose, what something's worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. So in looking at those two pieces of data, what we'll see come to the surface is not a pinpoint to the penny in terms of price, but instead a tight, realistic range to what's reasonable. And then from there, it'll come down to strategy, and we'll go over the strategies that you have because I want you to feel comfortable with the one we end up choosing. So if there is actives, I just set that up in the frame, and now I'm showing you the actives. So if they're available, I do want to show it to them.
If it's not available or it's not a good comp,
Like,
don't
hey,
feel like you're boxed in.
Yeah, exactly. So I would accurately say to them something like, hey, you know what? Like under normal circumstances, we can go into a community and there's X amount of properties that are available for sale. And in this instance, we actually don't have that. Right? So what we're together is what is actually sold and closed most recently. And that information will give us a clear picture as to where the market's at. And then we do have the strategies that we have. We'll go over those strategies because price is a strategy and attempt to get the most. And whatever you decide, I'll support you.